Congratulations, your grandfather just passed away. And you've inherited $10 million. $10 million that could change your life forever. Pay off your student loans, buy a house. Never worry about money again. You're 28 years old, working a decent job making $65,000 a year. And suddenly, you're a multimillionaire. Your lawyer calls you into his office. Mahogany desk, leather chairs, the smell of old money. He slides a folder across the table and says there's a condition. Of course there is. Your grandfather wasn't just a successful businessman, he was a genius. And he knew something that most people don't understand. Having money and keeping money are two completely different skills. He watched too many lottery winners go broke. Too many trust fund kids destroy their lives. Too many inheritances evaporate in less than 5 years. And that's when he built a trap. Psychological. Financial trap designed to test whether you're worthy of this wealth, or whether it'll destroy you like it destroys most people. Here's the condition: you get the full $10 million. But you can only access it according to a very specific structure. For the first year, you can only withdraw $50,000. That's it, the rest sits in a trust. Growing, compounding, completely untouchable. $50,000 sounds like a lot until you realize what's about to happen to your life. The moment word gets out that you inherited millions. And, trust me, it will get out. Everything changes. Your phone starts ringing constantly. It's your cousin who you haven't spoken to in 8 years. He's got this amazing business opportunity. Just needs a small investment. $200,000. Maybe $300,000, it's a sure thing. Then it's your college roommate, remember him? He's starting a cryptocurrency venture. Revolutionary technology, he just needs capital. Early investors will make 10 times returns, guaranteed. He only needs $150,000. After that, it's your aunt. Her house is in foreclosure. She's family. She raised you when your parents were struggling. Surely you can help. Just $80,000 would save her home. And then your best friend calls. His startup is almost funded. Just needs one more investor to close the round. $100,000 gets you 5% equity. This is the ground floor of the next big thing. You do the math in your head. Your cousin's business, $300,000. Your roommate's crypto scheme, $150,000. Your aunt's house, $80,000. Your friend's startup, $100,000. That's $630,000. You only have access to $50,000. You try to explain this, I can't access the money yet. There's a structure, a trust conditions. They don't believe you. They think you're being cheap, selfish. You have $10 million and you won't help family. You won't help the people who were there for you. The guilt is crushing, but it gets worse. Your landlord finds out. Your rent was $1,800 a month for a decent 2-bedroom apartment. Next month he informs you he's raising it to $3,200 market rates. He says with a smile that tells you he knows exactly what he's doing. Your car breaks down. The transmission is shot. The mechanic quotes you $4,000. Then casually mentions that for someone in your position, they have premium service options, expedited work. $7,500 and they'll have it done in 2 days instead of 2 weeks. You go to your regular bar. The bartender, who usually charges you $6 for a beer, suddenly presents a bill for $15. Premium pricing, he says. Thought you'd want the good stuff now. Every service provider, every vendor, every person you interact with commercially suddenly adjusts their prices when they realize who you are. It's not illegal, it's just business. You're rich now, you can afford it, except you can't. Not yet. You still only have access to $50,000 for the entire year. And your regular salary, your actual spending power hasn't changed. But everyone's expectations have exploded. Then there are the taxes, that $10 million inheritance. The IRS wants $4 million of it right now, estate taxes. Except you can't access the money to pay the taxes. Your grandfather's trust anticipated this. There's a provision that pays the taxes from the principal, which means your $10 million is actually $6 million. Nobody cares when people hear you inherited money. They hear the gross number, not the net. You inherited $10 million. That's the story, that's what spreads. That's what everyone believes. Your dating life becomes a nightmare. You meet someone, there's chemistry, things are going well, then they search for you online. Because everyone does that now. They find the public records of your inheritance. Suddenly they're looking at you differently. Every conversation becomes suspicious. Do they like you or do they like your money? Are they being genuine or are they auditioning for a role in your wealthy future? You go on a date, you suggest a casual restaurant, something comfortable, $30 per person. She looks disappointed. I thought we could go somewhere nice. She says, somewhere special. She suggests a place where entrees start at $85. You're still trying to live on your actual budget. But she's already living in the fantasy of your theoretical wealth. When you hesitate, you can see it in her eyes. What kind of millionaire is cheap on a second date? The psychological pressure is unbelievable. You know you have $6 million sitting in a trust, but in a few years, if you play this right, you'll have access to generational wealth, but right now, today, you feel broke. You feel broker than you did before the inheritance because now you know what you can't have. It's like being a kid pressing your face against the window of a toy store. The toys are technically yours, you own them. But there's glass between you and them. And you can't break through. Your coworkers find out. The dynamic at work becomes toxic. You're still showing up, still doing your job. Because 50,000 plus your 65,000 salary is 115,000. Which is good, but not quit your job money. Especially not with your new inflated expenses. But your coworkers resent you. Why are you still here? Why are you taking up a position that someone who actually needs it could have? During budget meetings, when you advocate for better equipment or higher salaries, someone always says it's easy for you to say, "You don't need this job. Your boss treats you differently too. He knows you could leave any time." So he doesn't invest in you. No more training, no more mentorship, no promotions. Why develop an employee who's going to quit the moment they get full access to their inheritance? You're trapped in a job you still need, but where you're no longer valued. It's professional purgatory. Month 3 arrives, and you get audited. The IRS decides to take a closer look at your finances, not because you did anything wrong, but because you're now in a wealth bracket that gets more scrutiny. You need to hire a tax attorney. That's $15,000. You need a CPA who specializes in trusts and estates. That's another $8,000 annually. Your $50,000 is evaporating. Rent, $3,200 per month. That's $38,400 annually. Car payment because you needed to replace that transmission disaster. $600 per month, $7,200 annually. Premium insurance because now you're a target for lawsuits. $4,800 annually. Tax attorney, $15,000, CPA, $8,000. You're at $73,400 and you haven't eaten yet. You haven't bought clothes, haven't paid for utilities, haven't had a single moment of enjoyment. And you only have $50,000 from the trust plus your salary. You're forced to live like you did before the inheritance, actually worse. Because everything costs more now and people expect more from you. And that's where the trap reveals its genius. Your grandfather understood something profound. Money doesn't just change what you can buy. It changes how people treat you. How they value you. What they expect from you. He knew that the moment you had access to millions, you'd be surrounded by people trying to extract it from you. Family, friends, strangers, businesses, everyone. The structure of the trust forces you to experience the social consequences of wealth without the financial power to manage those consequences. It's brutal. It's designed to answer one question. Can you maintain your values, your relationships, your sense of self when everyone around you changes? Year 1 is hell, pure psychological warfare. You lose friends who think you're selfish. You lose romantic prospects who think you're cheap. You stay at a job where you're resented. You live in an apartment that's overpriced. You drive a car that's adequate but not impressive. Everyone expects you to live like a millionaire. You have to live like an upper-middle-class professional struggling with inflated costs. But here's what happens if you survive it. Year 2. The trust releases $100,000. It's still not enough to quit your job or live lavishly, but it's breathing room. You can build an emergency fund, you can invest. You can start learning about wealth management because now you have to. You have to understand tax strategies, investment vehicles, estate planning. You have to become financially literate or you'll lose everything. Year 3, $200,000. Now you can make real decisions. You can quit that toxic job if you want. You can move to a place where people don't know about your inheritance. You can start to build a life that's aligned with your actual values rather than other people's expectations. By year 5, you have full access. But here's the beautiful, cruel genius of your grandfather's design. If you've made it to year 5, you don't need it the same way anymore. You've learned how to say no. You've learned who your real friends are. They're the ones who stuck around when you couldn't help them financially. You've learned that wealth attracts parasites and you've developed immunity to their manipulations. You've learned to live well below your means. You've experienced the trap that destroys most wealthy people. The trap of lifestyle inflation, of social pressure, of everyone wanting a piece of you. And you've learned to navigate it, most importantly. You've learned that having money and being financially secure are not the same thing. You've spent 5 years watching $6 million grow in investments you couldn't touch while living on restricted distributions. You've seen the power of compound growth. You've seen what happens when you don't spend every dollar you make. The people who fail the test fall into categories. There are the people who borrow against the trust. Banks will loan you money if you have $6 million in assets. Even if you can't access it, they'll give you $2 million at 8% interest. You take it, you help everyone, you buy the nice house, the nice car. You live like you think a millionaire should live. 5 years later, the trust releases. You have $6 million that's now worth maybe $9 million with growth, but you owe $2 million plus interest. And you've built a lifestyle that costs $400,000 a year to maintain. You've destroyed the entire point of the inheritance. There are people who crack under the social pressure. They can't handle being called selfish, being excluded, being judged. They find ways to break the trust. They sue. They fight. They make deals with lawyers who take huge percentages. They get access to the money early and it's gone within 3 years. Spent on proving to people that they're generous, that they're successful, that they're worth loving. There are people who marry the wrong person. Someone who sees the inheritance and sees a meal ticket. The marriage falls apart, the divorce is ugly. Half the trust goes to an ex-spouse who never cared about them. Just about the money, but the people who make it. The people who survive the 5 years. They're different, they've been forged by the experience. They've learned that real wealth isn't about impressing people. It's about having options, it's about being able to say no. It's about not needing to work a job you hate or stay in a relationship that's wrong or live in a place that makes you miserable. They've learned the most important financial skill that exists. Delayed gratification in the face of social pressure. Anyone can delay gratification when they're alone. It's easy to save money when nobody knows you have it. The real test is delaying gratification when everyone knows you're rich and judges you for not spending. By year 5, you've built something your grandfather hoped you'd build. Character, financial literacy, a filter for people and opportunities. A lifestyle that's sustainable and, most critically, an understanding that the money is a tool, not an identity. You open the full trust on your 33rd birthday. $6 million has grown to $11 million with conservative investments. You've spent 5 years learning, suffering, being tested. You've lost friends, lost opportunities. Lived with constant judgment and pressure, but you've won. You've passed the test that your grandfather designed. You've proven that you won't be destroyed by wealth like so many before you. You sit in the lawyer's office. The same mahogany desk, the same leather chairs. He slides you the final documents. Your grandfather wanted me to give you this if you made it to the end. He says, it's a letter handwritten. If you're reading this, you survived. You experienced what I experienced when I built this fortune. Everyone wanting something, everyone having expectations, everyone judging your choices. Most people who inherit money never experience that. They get it all at once and they drown in other people's needs and wants. They never develop the strength to say no. They never learn to protect what they have. You did. The money is yours. You earned it, not by working for it, but by proving you won't let it destroy you. Use it wisely, build something meaningful, help people, but help them in ways that don't enable their weaknesses. And remember, the money isn't what makes you valuable. What makes you valuable is what you proved over these 5 years. You can resist pressure. You can maintain your values. You can think long-term when everyone around you is thinking short-term. That's rarer than money. That's the real inheritance, love, Grandpa. You fold the letter, you look at the lawyer. You ask him how many people get this letter. He's quiet for a moment. In 30 years of managing trusts like this, I've seen maybe 40% make it to the end without breaking the structure. Your grandfather's design was particularly difficult. The percentage is lower, maybe 25%. 75% of people can't do it, 75% of people, when given $10 million with conditions, will find a way to sabotage themselves. They'll break the trust. Borrow against it, marry wrong, crack under pressure, make terrible decisions driven by ego or guilt or the desperate need to prove something to people who don't matter. You're in the 25%. You survive the trap, but here's the final twist. The one your grandfather couldn't have fully anticipated, but probably suspected. Now that you have full access, you don't want to spend it. Those 5 years changed you fundamentally. You're not the same person who inherited the money. That person was excited, overwhelmed, eager to help everyone. Eager to live large. This person, the one who survived, is different. You've seen what money does to people. You've seen the mask slip when friends became supplicants. You've seen relationships dissolve under the weight of financial expectations. You've learned that every dollar you spend is a choice. A trade-off, a piece of your freedom, so you don't buy the mansion. You buy a nice house, reasonable, comfortable. In a neighborhood where people don't ask questions, you don't buy the Ferrari. You buy a reliable car that you like, not one designed to impress. You invest most of it conservatively in index funds, real estate, boring wealth preservation strategies. You work because you want to, not because you have to. But you choose work that's meaningful, not work that's impressive. You help people, but carefully. You don't give money to every cousin with a business idea. You don't bail out family members who've made bad decisions instead. You pay for your niece's college tuition directly to the university. You help your friends start a business by being a silent partner with a formal contract. You support causes and organizations that align with your values. You've become your grandfather, careful, strategic, protected. Understanding that wealth is responsibility, not license, and the craziest part? You're happier than you would have been if you'd gotten the full 10 million on day one. Because you earned this, not with labor, but with character. You proved something to yourself. You proved you can handle wealth without letting it handle you. This is the inheritance that matters, not the money. The wisdom that money without character is just a countdown timer to disaster. Your grandfather didn't give you $10 million. He gave you a test disguised as a gift, and by passing it, you proved you deserve something more valuable than money. You deserve to keep it. Most people never understand this. They think the trap is not having enough money. The real trap is having money without the wisdom to protect it from everyone who wants it. Including yourself, including your own worst impulses, your ego, your need to be liked, your fear of being judged. The two-income trap destroys families by forcing them to spend every dollar to maintain a lifestyle. The inheritance trap destroys individuals by giving them too much too soon before they're ready. Your grandfather built a bridge between those two states. Not enough and too much, he forced you to walk across it slowly. Feeling every step, learning every lesson, building every skill, and now, standing on the other side, you realize the bridge was the point. The destination was never really about the money. It was about becoming the kind of person who could have money without being destroyed by it. That's the real inheritance. That's what your grandfather gave you. And it's worth more than $10 million. It's worth everything. Because now you know something that most people never learn. The most expensive thing in the world isn't a yacht or a mansion or a private jet. The most expensive thing in the world is not knowing how to say no. Not knowing how to protect yourself from other people's expectations. Not knowing the difference between what you want and what you think you should want. Your grandfather's trap taught you all of that. It was brutal. It was unfair. It was exactly what you needed. And that's the final, perfect irony. The people who complain the most about the conditions of the trust are the people who need those conditions the most. The people who fight it are the people it's designed to save. The people who embrace it are the people who are probably going to be fine anyway. But you'll never know which category you were in, because you survived. You walked through fire and came out forged instead of burned. You are the steward of your own wealth now. Careful, strategic, protecting something valuable from a world that would consume it without a second thought. You inherited $10 million, but there was a catch. The catch saved your life, and now, sitting in your reasonable house, driving your reliable car, doing work that matters, surrounded by people who knew you before the money and stayed after it. You understand the greatest truth about wealth. It's not about having money. It's about having the strength to live like you don't need it. Even when you do, that's freedom. That's what your grandfather bought you with his trap. And it only cost everything you thought you wanted to get everything you actually needed. Welcome to the 25%. You earned it.